like to say, in my life, I have been through a fascinating journey of, because I've done so many clients, and what women tell you whilst they're in a lovely, cozy, candlelit room having a lovely massage. I've heard horrible stories from women. I have heard vile stories again and again from different women, same kind of stories. And I have to say, I really got to the point at certain points in my life that I loathed men. I loathed men. I loathed for what men didn't see in women. That women were there to serve them, to please them, to facilitate them, to enable them, just like an extended housemaid that just kept the place clean, and they cooked for them and they opened their legs for them when they fancied it. You know, I really have been through a massive journey of hearing stories and guiding women through recovery from the deeds of men, and I look at it now in my life. I look back, and it's really funny how that I understand why people got to that toxic masculinity thing, but it has to change. And I think men that are teaching other young men to be masculine and proud of it, in control, using it in an intelligent kind of spiritual way, their masculinity in the best ways it can be, leading, guiding, serving, protecting, just like women have their own wonderful qualities, as we know. But I think it's interesting to get to my age now and just go, wow, I had to work on myself very deeply to get from thinking men are just lost. They just have no idea what women are. And it sounds a bizarre thing, but I really, really have massaged thousands and thousands of people, men and women. And, I know, I've written a book about my experiences working in health spas and the bizarre things people do and say. And called Pig Farmers and Prima Donnas, available on Kindle, actually, as you know, if you fancy it. But the journey I had from thinking, what is this with men? What is this kind of base chakra, basic behavior, this just eat, sleep and fornicate, and seeing women as just people that facilitate all that. And it's been fascinating to come across so many men who don't think women are, intelligent and clever and funny and have aspirations, and they want to do stuff. They want to feel significant. They want to give to the world, and that doesn't mean through having children. If it is your bag, then great. It was never my bag, and it was quite funny what I came up across, just because I didn't have that maternal kind of drive. So it is really fascinating how men is just like, oh, when men start to see women as beautiful, thinking, feeling, driven, I want to do something with my life, I want to contribute to the world, I want to shine my light in the world. I don't just want to shine my light in the kitchen and, in the production of breakfasts and school dinner, little kind of boxes of packed lunches and stuff, and in between just kind of stay at home. I mean, I know obviously that doesn't happen a lot these days, but men have this and I still think, there's a lot of men that just don't see women as holistic, wonderful, multi-leveled, complex kind of beings, because men project their own, and I don't mean this in a rude way, I mean it very positively, their own simplistic way of seeing things. So I've been on a massive journey from loathing men to seeing their value on a daily basis, thinking about a life in this world without men, and what would that be like when you have a load of disempowered, emasculated men unable to stand their ground and stand up for themselves more than anything, stand up for their sons and everything else, and just go, no, this is what I am. I'm a leader. I'm a guide. I'm a light. I'm a provider. I'm reliable. I'm a protector. My thing, I've always said this, that when women can walk on a beach at midnight and feel safe, and know that any man that comes across a woman walking on the beach on her own with a dog at midnight and just goes up to her and says, "You okay? You're all right? Do you need anything from me?" And just doesn't see a woman on her own as an opportunity to commit a crime or a heinous act, then we know we're getting somewhere. I know I've said this before as well about, women live with their number one predator, which is men. There's been a lot of research about, women and being, just this always preyed upon by, people they have to live in society with. So I've been on a journey, and I've heard hideous tales over and over and over again. If I'd worked with women for 30 years and just heard the odd one or two, but nearly every single woman that you come across has a story, has a tale. And yet still, deep down, you've got to have the faith and the knowing and the trust that men can evolve and lift themselves up. Like you see, happening now, I see a lot. I know it's the time of divine feminine, but actually it's also the rise of divine masculine. And this is where we need to get to. Ultimate support for each other, ultimate love for each other, ultimate understanding of what each other is offering and giving to the world and to each other and to their children and to their work colleagues and to the rest of the family. So, and it's funny to grow up with the chivalry and, like I say, the acts of kindness of men and seeing respect, not weakness. Because, a lot of women think, they think I'm weak. And like, well, no, they are physically stronger, unless you're a female bodybuilder and then you've got a bit of an edge. But, it's just respect. So starting there, I had a very strict father. So it was like, look at that kind of repressed masculinity, or that kind of, that other side of men. They're very strict, have to keep everything controlled. But then I understand astrology and I understand the chart. And then kind of getting into just seeing men as in my teenage years, and then, just thinking, what is wrong with this species? What is wrong with them? Why do they want to just take a more vulnerable, species and disempower it and defile it and destroy it and hurt it? And it's no wonder that women come back, with claws. Someone once said to me, why do women have to be bitches? Women are such bitches. And I said, when men stop being bastards, women will stop being bitches. It's quite simple. And when you both listen to each other and understand what the real issues are here and how much people carry from their childhood and past relationships, and then do the work, do the inner work, and then you stop. You stop being a bastard, and then you stop being a bitch, and you understand why the woman is acting in a certain way, and you understand why your man is acting in a certain way. So I kind of have seen the dark side, and then made a conscious decision. There's good men in the world, there's good men in the world, there's good men in the world doing the right thing, doing the good thing, wanting to protect women, wanting to stay with their families, wanting to support their kids. And that's the whole story. You have to start believing that it's possible that these people in life, men and women, can change, can turn it around, can become the person that they want to be, can achieve their own level of self-respect and offer it to everyone around them. Because, as I always say, love starts on the inside. Self-respect, self-esteem, self-liking. You have to do the inner work, and then it emanates out into the world, and you stop blaming everybody else. Because if you're calling if you're looking at you're a vehement kind of supporter of toxic masculinity is ruining the world, I would look at that person and go, well, what's inside you that you're projecting that out? What is the toxicity inside you that you need to heal? Because as we often say, whatever you see on the outside of the world, however you interpret it, is what's actually happening within you that is so unconscious you can't interpret it yourself. Anyway, I'm really going on now, aren't I? It's a subject I'm very passionate about, and so, which is why I did the work I did when I was working very much in the health spas and in my own business, and when I was teaching belly dancing and, you know, lifting women up and kind of getting them just to have a laugh and just kind of have that fun and just let go. But anyway, I think I've said enough, haven't I? So let's see. But yes, I still value my dear beloved opening a door for me, opening a door and letting me go first. And like I say, carrying stuff, carrying the shopping from the shops and all that kind of stuff. You know, women have to learn to receive again and to feel feminine again and to appreciate femininity for all its big spiritual gifts, emotional gifts, warm physical gifts, and yeah, we'll all work it out, won't we, in the end? The rise of divine feminine along with the rise of the divine masculine. Yay, go for it. Let's unite, bring it together into the new age and the age of light. Thanks for watching. I will see you again soon. Take care now. Bye bye.